Nithyanandam Paramasukadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Kanadisham Tadvamastyadilaksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadhi Sakshi Bhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami. Nithyanandam, today, on this most auspicious occasion of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism's grand 45th Jayanti ongoing celebrations, Kailasa Mission to the UN offers their humble pranams at the divine lotus feet of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Jagat Guru Mahasannidhanam, His Divine Holiness Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam, in the form of a panel discussion. By doing so, we wish to express our gratitude to the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism for his tireless, selfless service to humanity, particularly in such times of global crisis where the world faces so much uncertainty on all levels. As a Purna Avatar, a complete incarnation and source of all existence, Lord Paramashiva himself, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism's sacrifice and compassion for the world in times of urgent need is left unmatched. As a world leader, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is the only spiritual leader and the only head of state who has opened his doors to protect those in danger, providing them with the safest environment while ensuring that everyone's physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual needs are met.
So, how prepared are we to face an epidemic? How prepared are we to face a pandemic? Well, reality revealed itself when COVID-19 hit the world in the late 2019, with official announcement being made on January 9th, 2020 by the World Health Organization, whereby they announced a mysterious coronavirus pneumonia in Wuhan, China. The Center for Disease Control and Prevention, the CDC, defines an epidemic as the sudden outbreak of a disease in a particular geographical area, and a pandemic as the outbreak of a disease that has spread across several countries or continents. So COVID-19 is both an epidemic and a pandemic. And according to the World Health Organization, COVID-19 has killed more than 5 million people since it was first reported in 2020. There have been more than 260 million cases documented, and many go unreported. So what has COVID-19 shown us about our preparedness to face such devastating outbursts? Well, it has exposed the fragility of the global system. Today, December 27th, on the International Day of Epidemic Preparedness, as declared by the United Nations, we are gathered from all around the world to discuss the importance of preventative methods and responses to epidemics and pandemics, specifically as it pertains to raising awareness, exchanging information, scientific knowledge, and best practices, and ensuring the accessibility of quality education and advocacy programs on epidemics at the local, regional, and global levels. So let us first introduce the only leader who has actively stepped up not only to provide immediate, foolproof, time-tested Hindu solutions to the COVID-19 crisis, but the only leader who has guided humanity into looking at the root cause of the problem.
He is the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Jagat Guru Mahasannidhanam, His Divine Holiness Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam. It is with the blessings of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam, that we welcome each and every one of you who have chosen to take part in this important discussion.
Your hosts are Her Excellency Ma Vijayapriya Nithyananda, Permanent Ambassador of Kailasa to the United Nations, as well as delegates from Kailasa, Ma Nitya Swatantra Priyananda, Ma Nitya Kaditananda, and myself, Ma Nitya Mahakaditananda. We warmly welcome each and every one of you as we are all connecting today to reflect on one, what has happened, and number two, how we can heal. Let us first begin by watching a video that beautifully introduces the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, who he is and how he has, for the past 27 years of his public life, relentlessly worked and continues to work for a better and sustainable future for all beings.
Founder of Kailasa, Paramashiva, and his 1008th incarnation, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Jagat Guru Mahasannidhanam, His Divine Holiness Bhagwan Nithyananda Paramashivam, is the reviver of Kailasa, the enlightened civilization, the greatest Hindu nation. His Divine Holiness was birthed by his predecessors of enlightened masters, great rishis, munis, siddhas, who predicted and recognized His Divine Holiness Bhagwan Nithyananda Paramashivam as an incarnation of Paramashiva as per the science of incarnation described in Hinduism. From his first Chaturmasya at the age of 3 in the year 1980 until the age of 16 in the year 1994, the Supreme Pontiff was trained for the revival of Kailasa. He began reviving Kailasa from the age of 16 after the coronation on the 25th May 1994. Kailasa that we see today is 26 years of sincere hard work of the reviver and Hindu diaspora all over the world.
Problems of the modern day humanity, Sanatana Hindu Dharma is solution. Whether the terrorism or climate change, natural calamities or man-made calamities, for all the problems humanity is facing, the only solution is science of living enlightenment, revealed by Paramashiva from the Vedagamas in the modern day through this body. I am a Hindu revivalist, not by any revolution, but by evolution and setting model communities. Understand? Kailasa is reviving the ancient Hindu enlightened civilization. Paramashiva manifested this Kailasa Mandala, the enlightenment ecosystem and the lifestyle. I am going to revive this whole enlightenment ecosystem, Kailasa, by creating a model Kailasas all over the world. I will work sincerely and revive this spiritual science.
Building a nation is not a project accomplished overnight or by virtue of hope. Kailasa is the manifestation of 26 years of sincere hard work, sacrifices, integrity of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Jagadguru Mahasannidhanam, His Divine Holiness Bhagwan Nithyananda Paramashivam, and the Hindu diaspora worldwide for the past 26 years for the enlightenment of humanity.
As a humanity, we are most blessed to have a Purna avatar among us, Paramashiva himself, to guide us. Because of the yearning of millions to attain liberation, the incarnation of Paramashiva himself landed in the body through the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam. And before diving deeper into how the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism through Kailasa is actively contributing to the solution, let us first take a look at how the COVID-19 pandemic has impacted the world. And so we would like to first ask a question to everyone, and you can share live on social media. How prepared or unprepared do you feel we all were to face COVID-19? And by all, we mean including individuals, communities, governments. So please do take a moment to share your answers live in the comments. Since the COVID-19 outbreak, we have clearly seen how the pandemic has greatly affected the areas of health, food security, economy, and access to education. So let's now take a look at what experts are saying.
Thank you, Ma. So when it comes to health, let's rewind and go back, to the initial phases of the COVID pandemic in early 2020. And in an article published on March 10th, 2020 by Stats News, it explained that with the hospitalization rate in the US being at 10%, they predicted that all hospital beds would be filled only 2 months later, and that by May, with many patients requiring weeks of care, turnover will be slow to a crawl as the hospital beds become occupied with COVID patients. And another area of concern pointed out by Stats News back then was the fact that the healthcare system, as it becomes saturated with cases, it became increasingly difficult to detect, track, and contain new genes.
On January 31st, 2021, the CTV News relayed the news about the detection of new variants of novel coronavirus worldwide. At that point, the UK variant alone had been detected in 60 countries. Scientists all over the world are on the hunt to get answers about the new variants that continue to surface as the virus mutates. A medical scientist director of the Provincial Public Health Lab in Alberta, Canada, told CTV News that variants outside of those scientists have already identified will certainly continue to arise, and that we'll only know through research if they pose a unique threat or not. In terms of the response to the COVID-19 new variants' continuous outbreaks, many countries have restricted travel. Some even closed their borders, and governments have been pushing for vaccines and boosters. Yet, in December 2021, we're still fighting against COVID-19.
According to the CDC, the Omicron COVID-19 variant is now the most dominant strain in the US, accounting for over 73% of new coronavirus cases, less than 3 weeks after the first was reported. The World Health Organization says Omicron cases are doubling every day and a half to 3 days. And based on these reports and statistics, we can clearly see how the pandemic has exposed the fragility of the global system. And because the already vulnerable are impacted even more, the United Nations member states have committed to ensure inclusive, equal, and non-discriminatory participation, with special attention to those who are vulnerable or in vulnerable situations with the highest chance of epidemic infection.
One more important point we would like to bring up today on the International Day of Epidemic Preparedness is that COVID-19 is not just a health threat. In fact, second to the health crisis is the threat of global famine. David Beasley, the executive director of the World Food Program, warned of alarming global hunger and food insecurity, with the number of people marching towards starvation spiking from 135 million to 270 million as the pandemic unfolded. He stressed that 2021 will be catastrophic and that famine is literally on the horizon. And we were talking about that few months, he said. The disruption in the supply chain is especially worrisome for essential food supplies, which disproportionately affects the already most vulnerable even more.
Yes, and as we continue along, when we come to looking at economy, according to Statista, early estimates predicted that should the virus become a global pandemic, most major economies will lose at least 2.9% of their GDP or gross domestic product over 2020. This forecast was then restated that at a 3.4% in GDP loss. So we may think, 2.9%, 3.4%, this is really small. Really and truly, while the percentage seems very small or tiny, in numbers, this in fact equates to an approximate 2.96 trillion US dollars of lost economic output. So the question is, what is the solution? Well, according to the experts, interestingly, the State of Food Security and Nutrition in the World 2020 report states that healthy diets would help. In fact, the State of Food Security and Nutrition in the World 2020 report argues that once sustainability considerations are factored in, a global switch to healthy diets would help check the backslide into hunger while delivering enormous savings. It calculates that such a shift would allow the health costs associated with unhealthy diets estimated to reach $1.3 trillion in 2030. And this is to be almost entirely offset, while the diet-related social costs of greenhouse gas emissions, estimated at $1.7 trillion, could be cut up by up to 3/4.
Ms. Ashin, who is the Chief Executive Officer of Save the Children International, said the pandemic is a child's rights crisis that threatens to undermine decades of progress. She said that this is the first time the world is experiencing an educational emergency of this proportion and reported that at the peak of the crisis, over 1.6 billion learners were impacted, with some never returning to school. She warned that child migrants or those living in conflict areas are the most vulnerable and only becoming more so. Expressing grave concern over the effects of the pandemic on girls specifically, she said many reported that the prolonged school closures are having increasingly negative consequences on their lives. Of course, what we have presented so far is only a glimpse into the reality that the world is currently facing.
And so now, as you may know or may not know, Hinduism always aims to solve the problem at its roots, looking for the root cause and solving it. This means that although protective and preventive measures are necessary, we need to dig further to really understand how we have created the reality that we're experiencing today and what we can do about it from the space of responsibility. From this context, we will now share what the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhava Nithyananda Paramashivam, has declared to the world regarding the pandemic. We will be shortly playing a short video. And to introduce the video, I would like to share a quote directly from the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. On the 17th of April, 2020, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Nithyananda Paramashivam, revealed a message to humanity directly from Paramashiva. Paramashiva's message directly to the world the views, Kailasa's views and suggestions for the post-COVID-19 world, the Hindu solutions. First thing, all Hindus should understand, even though we are not the reason for the problems, we Hindus should take the responsibility to find solutions, because from the time immemorial, Hinduism is a religion, tradition, was continuously, immensely, that contributes to the world by finding solutions for every crisis humanity faces. Every crisis humanity faces, Hinduism found solutions. Hinduism is the religion which has seen at least 5 complete wiping out of planet Earth, wiping out of civilization, and we have knowledge. We have recorded and documented every time when the civilization was wiped out and how we rebuilt it. Let us now watch the video where the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism will himself share.
Every crisis humanity faces, Hinduism found solutions. Hinduism is the religion which has seen at least 5 complete wiping out of planet Earth, wiping out of civilization. And we have knowledge, we have recorded and documented every time when the civilization was wiped out, how we rebuilt it. Please understand, we Hindus have knowledge. All the 18 Puranas and Upapuranas are history, cosmic history, not mythology. At least 5 times, the whole civilization was wiped out on planet Earth, and we handled it. We handled the crisis. When there is a global emergencies, the knowledge of the past is too important. How human beings handled it, what all the methods successfully helped human beings to recover from the global crisis. Understand? First thing, Hindus need to realize you have solution. Please look back your history. Stop abusing them as mythology, because anti-Hindus have abused it. That's the first thing I wanted to share. Whether from binary logic or cosmic logic, Hindus have solution. And even as per the modern history, even as per the date, time, binary logic recordings, historical archives, it is well established fact, Hinduism is the oldest knowledge tradition. Oldest knowledge tradition still alive, the oldest living civilization which has faced large number of this kind of crisis in multiple levels, whether health related pandemics or natural calamities. All the global crisis, human beings faced, we have the clear knowledge, we have clear manual, how we handled it. All I am trying to convey is, first of all, Hindus need to know we have solution because we faced multiple pandemics, natural calamities, and we have expertise. We just need to revisit our Puranas with the clarity they are history documents, not mythology. They are history documents. So now, yesterday I was explaining few points. We need to contemplate on cosmic logic. Why we are going through what we are going through. As I said, cosmic logic only we call as karma. Cosmic solutions we call as dharma. What is the karma caused COVID-19, coronavirus? I can say multiple reasons. Let's internalize one by one. The karma caused this problem and the dharma solution for this problem. Understand? I'll make a clear revelations, Hindu solutions. Karma caused the problems of COVID-19 and all the other related problems of COVID-19. And dharma, cosmic solutions for these problems. Hinduism teaches constantly only if you look at the root of the problem, source of the problem, without getting overwhelmed and trying to find stopgap or superficial solution. Understand? Even if the problem is overwhelming, do not go for stopgap or superficial solutions. Go into the root of the problem, look into the root of the problem, find the right, permanent, ultimate, complete solution. And ultimate, permanent, complete solution is always time-taking process, is delusion. People who want to force stopgap of baked vested interests, superficial solutions on you, are making you believe you need to accept the stopgap superficial solution for immediate purpose. Understand? Surely we need to protect ourselves immediately. That is true. Protecting ourselves, quarantine, all that should be followed. But you need to know all that is not permanent solution. Please understand, precautionary methods cannot be promoted as solution. Understand the difference between these two. Quarantine is a great precautionary method to prevent, that need to be followed. I strongly recommend all of you follow the local government's guidance, guidelines, regulations. In each country, based on the situation, the local governments would have given suggestions, guidelines, orders. Please follow all of it very strictly, sincerely. But you need to understand these are prevention, not solution. If we don't look at the permanent solution, we will be having one or other this kind of pandemics and crisis continuously. We need to understand we really need to look in, internalize. Too many deluded decisions we have taken, deluded conclusions we have arrived, deluded cognitions we are carrying. Yesterday I was talking about plant-based diet, vegetarian lifestyle, not just diet, whole lifestyle, plant-based lifestyle. Stopping the idea that whole planet Earth belongs to only human race. Human race may be superior race because of its ability to torture and kill and eliminate other beings. But we need to know planet Earth is not exclusively for us. We are here to coexist.
So what makes the need for the revival of Hinduism so urgent, especially in the context of epidemic preparedness? As the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism beautifully conveyed, it is because Hinduism has the expertise, because it has gone through so many crises already, it has recorded through its history the solutions. So Hinduism has the solution. And that is why it needs to be revived, which is the work that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is doing. And how does Hinduism have the solution? It is because of the past experiences and the effectiveness of the solutions implemented that have been thoroughly recorded. And as conveyed by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Hinduism has 18 Puranas, which are historical documents. There are detailed factual descriptions of how Hindus have ensured that the civilization would not get wiped out in times of crisis.
Today, we also want to share with the world how the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, through Kailasa, is working to fulfill the Sustainable Developmental Goals 2030. As we have spoken about earlier, second to the health crisis is food crisis. Fortunately, Kailasa, under the guidance of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, is committed to, among other causes, to working for the achievement of food security, which directly aligns with Sustainable Developmental Goal number 2, ending world hunger. Introducing the Red Om and the No Hungry Project. In order to eradicate world hunger and poverty on a global scale, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism founded the International Humanitarian Agency, the Red Om, specifically through the No Hungry Home Project, launched by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. The Red Om has served and continues to serve organic, sattvic, vegetarian meals to billions of people worldwide. The Red Om also continues to expand its services through the deployment of thousands of trained peacekeepers across the globe. And this humanitarian initiative is based on the sacred Hindu scriptures.
Lord Paramashiva declares in the Hindu scripture Taittiriya Upanishad, Bhrigu chapter 9, Navamo Anuvaka, verse 1, and chapter 7, Saptamo Anuvaka, verse 11. Annam bahukurvita tatadvratam, annam na nindayat tatadvratam. Let us create and share food. Let all hungry stomachs be fulfilled with food. Let us not waste food. No place you can drop food where there is no hunger, either outside or inside. That is being authentic with food.
As you can see here, Kailasa has also published a report, Red Om. Kailasa's Red Om is a response to eradicate world hunger and to share some of the great work that has been done by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism.
In terms of responding to the COVID global crisis, Kailasa has taken the responsibility to consolidate a report, including recommendations for post-COVID-19 recovery and successful achievement of the 2030 Agenda of the United Nations. Kailasa's report, the COVID-19 and Multilateralism report, has been published by the United Nations in September 2021 by the OHCHR's UN independent expert on the promotion of a democratic and equitable international order. Now, many of you surely are eager to know what are Kailasa's recommendations for the post-COVID-19 recovery and successful achievement of the 2030 Agenda. They include, based on the rationale that lockdowns have brought the global economy into crisis and that frequent lockdowns and ongoing threat of famine are exacerbating worries that starvation may cause more suffering than the virus itself. In its COVID-19 and Multilateralism report, Kailasa recommends the following protective and preventive measures.
So recommendation number 1, revising economic policies for achieving food security, leveraging the best of various economic systems such as charity, barter, and money.
Recommendation number 2, adopting international multilateral negotiations and treaties for pandemic preparedness centered on multilateralism and based on the Hindu principle of Vasudeva Kutumbakam. The entire world is my family.
Recommendation number 3, prioritizing and imparting education on individual pandemic management.
Recommendation number 4, implementing multilateral strategies and coordination to ensure sustainable cities and communities by implementing multi-layered quarantine protection without disrupting life and economy, such that effects of lockdowns, recessions, worsened unemployment rates, etc., are unnoticeable.
Recommendation number 5, monitoring global health and waiving our patents on extremely essential vaccine and having a common goal fund of vaccines.
Recommendation number 6, providing access to traditional healthcare systems, Ayurveda and Siddha medicine, free from policies that are prejudicial and discriminatory, complementing ongoing public health efforts.
And recommendation number 7, reducing inequalities by creating food grain banks. One example is village grain banks empowering women and improving food security in Uttarakhand.
Additionally to Kailasa's COVID-19 and multilateralism report recommendations, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is strongly recommend to all his disciples and temples to adopt the following 3 ancient traditional natural immunity boosting methods.
So the first one, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagwan Nithyananda Paramashivam, shared that we should all observe the Pachay Patni Vratam. So what is the Pachay Patni Vratam? It is a traditional Hindu ritualistic fast followed in all South Indian villages and observed by Devi herself, Cosmic Mother herself. In oneness with Devi Parashakti, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism himself observed the fast in the midst of the pandemic and also initiated disciples into this Pachay Patni Vratam fast.
The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has also encouraged, for those who reside in countries that allow this ancient immunity boosting practice, for all of us to do fire walking. Fire walking is a very powerful technique traditionally followed to protect oneself from any virus. And small blisters that happen on the feet will shoot up the whole immunity. And fire walking is a traditional way of making oneself immune. It is basically a traditional vaccination process.
And the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism also recommends lemon piercing in countries that allow this ancient immunity boosting practice as well. As shared worldly by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, the lemon piercing is a very powerful way of making one's system immune. In fact, every time the needle pierces, the system is triggered, which makes the whole system become fully alive and active in protecting itself. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism revealed that 11 piercings are required to ensure protection against viruses.
The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism explains that these techniques were designed by the ancient rishis and munis who have been adept and master in every field, whether health or keeping the society safe, and in every field. So all the vratam, the pujas, spiritual techniques, religious rituals, anything they designed are highly scientific and directly useful to life. In this short video, we can see how the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism himself practices such ancient traditional methods.
சத்தியம் காத்திடும் உத்தமத்தியே சத்குருவாய் வந்த நித்திய தாயே வேதங்கள் வணங்கிடும் ஆதியும் நீயே ஜோதிமலையிலே அவதரித்தாயே அவனியை பேணும் ஞானமும் நீயே அக்னி வடிவிலே அருள் புரிந்தாயே
Yes, and I would like to add that during this auspicious moment when the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism walked on the fire in Tiruvannamalai, his birthplace, many participants could not walk on the fire, could not do the fire walking for various reasons. And the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism walked on all of their behalf. So it was a very powerful moment. Such bliss, spiritually filled with energies, and just the fact that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, he did not have to walk on the fire, do the fire walking, but just because of his compassion and grace and care for everybody, he walked on all of the behalf of the participants.
Wonderfully shared, Ma. And moving along, so we would like to share some of Kailasa's successful preventative COVID care facilities and share with the world, in the midst of the pandemic, how the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has successfully implemented these multi-layered quarantine protection facilities as recommended in Kailasa's COVID-19 and multilateralism report. So during this time, as individuals and families and communities feared, what will happen to them? What will happen to their loved ones? What does the future entail? The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism converted his monasteries into protective and preventive COVID care facilities with multi-layered quarantine, known as Kailasa COVID care facilities. And the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagwan Nithyananda Paramashivam, opened all the doors, urging everyone to protect themselves and stay alive. And I remember very vividly when Bhagwan Nithyananda Paramashivam spoke about this, really urging everyone that the main thing is really just be alive, be protected, come to the facility and keep yourself alive, stay alive. And also in those facilities, all basic needs were fully attended, all basic needs, all free of cost, including shelter, food, medical care, and again, really having the basic needs provided so that one can really care for themselves. And so much more was provided, and we'll share more about this in the coming segments.
Yes, specifically, in Kailasa's protective and preventive COVID care facilities, protection is ensured in two primary ways. Number one, through daily preventive measures, and number two, through practices to boost the immunity. And so daily preventive measures comprise of follow country guidelines, abide by the rules and guidelines imposed in your country, social distancing, avoid physical contact with any individual, prevent entry of any person from outside into spiritual embassies of Kailasa, complete isolation of community from outside world. So this was the multi-layered quarantine. Staff and workers stopped coming in, making the spiritual embassies self-sufficient in every way, producing our own organic sattvic produce as well as self-cooking, washing hands as often as possible, whenever we involve hands for any work and particularly before eating, bathing twice a day, including a head bath every day with change into fresh clothes, cleanliness of places, regular cleaning of campus and areas of cooking and eating, and garbage disposal in a protected way, and doing panchakriya, which means jalabasti, enema, cleansing of the colon, jalaneti, cleansing of the nose, and nitra shuddhi, cleansing of the eyes, as well as intaking haritaki powder, which are all ways to promote protection and help detox the body.
Practices to improve immunity comprise of intake of anti-coronavirus kashayam, which is designed from a combination of traditional Hindu medicinal practices of naturopathy, Ayurveda, and Siddha, hot turmeric water, Nithyananda yoga, daily night completion process. The benefits include relief of stress, pain, fear, and all incompletions through the completion process and unclutching, which is a part of our fundamental lifestyle and essence of the Paramashiva Jnana and Vijnana as revealed by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Sri Nithyananda Paramashivam. And also power manifestation, which is practicing daily power manifestation, as the time spent on this is the time you experience oneness with Paramashiva, the ultimate superconscious energy, who fills you. It makes your nervous system and immune system strong and protects you. Doing the Mahavakya Japa daily, chanting of the most positive sound waves, the Mahavakya Japa, will keep the atmosphere positive and healthy. And participating in the Paramashivoham Level 2 program, the Paramashiva Vijnana has been given to humanity through the Paramashivoham Level 2 program, coming in at a very crucial time, along with the self-isolation at home, receiving the Paramashiva Vijnana and direct superconscious breakthrough, which is all healing. Keeping the Kantamala on you at all times, all those who are wearing the Kantamala and chanting the Mahavakya are shielded and protected by Paramashiva. The final recommendation is following the Pachayapatini Vratam, the traditional Hindu religious fast as described earlier.
So I'm just listening to all these, guides that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has clearly given us, very, very specific instruction and guides. And I can't, help but feel this overwhelming sense of gratitude, because the sort of detail and compassion Bhagavan has for all of us, it really shows in the work that he's doing, especially during the COVID with the Kailasa care facilities. And I'm sure a lot of viewers, those who are disciples as well, would have benefited from a lot of these guidance and care. And also it's a really good reminder for us as well how to go about keeping ourselves safe during this COVID pandemic. So I would like to, we would like to share this, some testimonials from two families who have experienced Kailasa's protective and preventive care facilities, who have benefited from this and received complete protection and care. And the first one is from Shiva Jyoti and family. And he says, "Dear Swamiji, you have repeatedly proven that your tapas is just to save humanity. During this global pandemic, when people are dying without healthcare or suffering in depression, without mental health care, you have been the only hope for us. You have opened up your own homes, your Kailasas, to save people's lives. No one else in the world is ready to make such a huge sacrifice. Through your divine blessings and healing, my mother has fully recovered from COVID. When the doctors gave up hope, you were the only saving grace. We pray that the whole world decides to experience Swamiji's compassion and save themselves." What a beautiful sharing. And there's another sharing from Agni Apojit and family. And he says, "Thank you, Swamiji. Despite the testing times where the whole world is melting down, you have saved us and given us such a blissful enlightenment ecosystem with completely free medical care, including Ayurveda. Immense gratitude for your divine compassion, Swamiji. Not only we are protected from Corona, but we have been showered with the best life." So these are beautiful sharings from just two families out of many others who would have benefited from Kailasa's COVID care facilities. And it really just goes to show how much compassion, how much care, and how much thought has been put into these care facilities.
Such beautiful testimonials. And today, on the occasion of the International Epidemic Preparedness Day, we would like to end the panel with a sharing from each and every one of us. So that includes Ma Vijayapriya Nithyananda, Ma Mahakatita, and Ma Katita and myself. And we would like to share about our own experiences. And we have two questions that we will be answering. And we would really find it really interesting if each and every one of you who is watching live could share also your own experiences. So I'll be asking the first question, and as we share, you can also write in the comment section on social media, and then we can also share your testimonial with the world. And so the first question is, how do you feel the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has prepared you to face the COVID pandemic or any crisis that may occur? And first, I invite Ma Nitya Katitananda to share her experiences.
Thank you, Ma Swatantra Priya. For me, there are so many things I could share, but what really I will say helped during the COVID period. We had the blessing and the opportunity to be part of Paramashivoham, and this Paramashivoham was clearly, all online process, and it was a very intense, beautiful 16 days that we really spent with Bhagwan and many others around the world. And I would say I was really in a bubble, or I have to say maybe a protective cocoon that Bhagwan created for all of us, because we were, engrossed in sort of self-analysis and learning the cognitions and really learning about Hinduism, learning about the Holocaust, learning about the sciences of Hinduism, the completion process. All of these things we were learning. So really and truly, I would say Bhagwan prepared us by, number one, he prepared our bodies from years in advance. He was telling, everyone, haritaki, castor oil, all of these detox methods. he was preparing us from far, years in advance for it. And also by providing these online programs that really, really helped, I will say, kept us alive, kept that energy flowing, and it really created a beautiful sort of network and ecosystem. And I'll just say, for me, the words, Guru, Linga, Sangha, that really made more meaning, I will say, during the COVID, because when Bhagavan says Guru, Linga, Sangha, especially when he says Sangha, he means, yes, we can be all disciples and whatnot and pray and all of these things. But being a Sangha, having the benefit of that ecosystem, I mean, that really flourished, and it really showed how much we needed it. Because in times of isolation, and only when I started, I'll say, interacting with people outside of the Sangha, people who did not have Bhagwan in their lives, who were not initiated, who were not part of any of these programs, I saw the immense suffering that they had. And I really, the least I could do was invite them, share, enrich, and also, that space of deep gratitude was there. So Guru, Linga, Sangha, really, really important. This is what Bhagwan has provided. And the Kailasa ecosystem, this is what I'll say really helped to prepare us, in addition to all the sciences and the detox method when it comes to protecting our bodies. And, I also like to, again, opening up to all the viewers out there, please do, share your personal experiences of how you have, been prepared by Bhagwan, and how this has really affected and improved your well-being during this time of.
Thank you, Manitya Katitananda. And so now I would invite Ma Vijayapriya Nithyananda to share about her perspective and experiences. So the same question, I'll ask the question once more if you've just tuned in to the program, so that you can answer also on social media. So the question that we are answering is, how do you feel the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has prepared you to face the COVID pandemic or any crisis that may occur?
Yes, thank you, Ma Swatantra Priya, and such a nice sharing, Ma Katita. There's so much I can keep on talking on how the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam, has played a fundamental role in preparing me to face the pandemic, physically, physiologically, emotionally, and mentally. The various detox courses personally designed by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, based on the authentic age-old Hindu scriptures, and which includes traditional medicinal plants and herbs such as neem and haritaki, have strengthened my immune system to great levels. And just to give you an example, before I was introduced to the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, I used to fall sick very often. I used to have asthma, pneumonia, and acute coughs often as a child. And even in my adult life, I was catching the flu very often. But after I met the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, because of his training, his various courses, programs, and initiations that only an avatar, an incarnation of Lord Paramashiva, such as the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism in today's age, can give. Since 2014, this is when I met the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, I have not had the flu or cold. And actually, during the first outbreak of the COVID-19 in 2020, I was working at a major world famous hospital in New York City. And at that time, New York City was one of the cities which had the most COVID cases. I was actually also taking public transportation every day to travel to work. And working at a hospital, I was able to get tested for COVID-19 on a regular basis. And I had never tested positive for COVID-19. So I feel that, whatever the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is offering to the world, we should all take advantage of it, whether in the form of the programs. For now, we are having the Kalpataru program, the Paramashivoham program that has been ongoing since 2020, since the beginning of the COVID-19 crisis. The various vratams, the various programs that Swamiji is offering, we should all take advantage of those because they are going to really help us, to face any crisis that we can think of.
Thank you, Ma Vijayapriya Nithyananda. And before I invite Ma Mahakatita to share, I'll share two of the comments sharings from online viewers. Thank you so much for taking part in the discussion. It makes the whole discussion so much richer, more rich. So Ma Jnana Pradayini is telling, I have had the best experience with Ayurvedic medicine. Thank you, Swamiji. Thank you so much for sharing. And Ma Heidi Shern is sharing that Swamiji and Sangha are a lifeline. Yes. Thank you so much for sharing. And again, we invite every single one of you who's watching live to share your experience so that we can share with the world and so that the world can understand and what it is that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is gifting all of us. And most of these programs like Paramashivoham too, this is all gifted to the world free of cost by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. So really, like Ma Vijayapriya Nithyananda was sharing, we should all jump in, take advantage of it, and so much expansion will happen to all of us for the future to prepare us for what's to come. And so now I would like to invite Ma Nitya Mahakatitananda to share her experience.
Yes, thank you, Ma Nithyananda. So yes, during the challenging times of COVID, the pandemic, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, he really prepared all of us for our next super conscious breakthrough in literally every facet of our life. And being part of the supportive environment of the global extension, the digital ecosystem of Nithyananda Sangha during the times of pandemic, when we were all quarantined and left at home, the Sri Kailasa nation has really strengthened us and equipped us with the confidence and knowledge to handle any challenges in life. So as Ma Katitananda was sharing, literally like a cocoon, being a part of Sri Kailasa Nation has been the most supportive and vital, a lifeline for healing to happen, our spiritual growth to happen, inner transformation, mental, emotional well-being, and physical wellness, all the vratams and the methodologies, the detox methods the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has taught us, and so much more, especially during the times of high tension, panic, and uncertainty. Because many of us during the COVID pandemic, we've each to some degree experienced sudden food shortages, panic buying, fear of hunger, job insecurity, death of friends, death of families, even riots broke out in the United States. And watching the devastating news of natural disasters really created a lot of uncertainty for what the future would look like. And, where will our next meal come from? How will we pay rent? What about Wi-Fi, electricity, all these day-to-day basic necessities? But the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism really provided solutions for every insecurity, like panic buying, food shortages. He provided the solutions of the Pachepatni Vratam, the Nirahara Samyama, which is a science revived by him to bring completion to food patterns. And so much scientific research has been done for fasting and vegetarian lifestyle, and supporting our physical health through online yoga sessions, which were held free every day and made available and accessible in almost every region. Dealing with mental stress and emotional well-being, the Minutes for Peace initiative, the unclutching initiations, and the meditations, which were held online around the clock and virtually anybody could attend. And many of us lost our jobs. For another example, then we were taught the science of manifesting and wealth manifestation in workshops, which were conducted around the clock. So even if we were quarantined, it truly felt like we were supported and sitting literally in his breathing space, and the Kailasa ecosystems, teachings, and methods that Swamiji has revealed and taught us really helped for me, my mental state, my spiritual well-being, my physical health, my emotional space, even during these stressful times of COVID. Thank you, Ma.
Thank you so much for sharing. And as you were talking, I was thinking back also to what Ma Katita was sharing, how it really felt like a cocoon. It really did feel like, for me, it felt like a womb, right? Like I actually forgot that the world was going through COVID-19. That's the power of the womb that Swamiji, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, has created. And before I share a little bit more about my perspective and experience, I'll share one more testimonial online. Yes, Ma Kate Rowe is sharing, I received a very helpful body scan. Thank you. And then she puts a heart and yes, great. So yes, power manifestation was obviously also a big part of the care that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism gifted the humanity. And I'll share a little bit about my own experience about that as well. And when I was contemplating on how I wanted to answer this question, I was thinking, it's not like the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism just started helping us when the crisis happened, right? If we look at the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism's life, we can see that his whole life is dedicated to raising the frequency of the consciousness of the humanity. So like from the beginning, and that goes back when he started his public life, 27 years of his public life, his work, his whole life has been for that, to prepare us, to bring us into a state, a space of ultimate powerfulness, to help us realize that we are Paramashiva and that nothing can affect us or shake us. And so when actually it is, I feel that when a crisis like this hits, that's when we can actually realize what has been done for us by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. That's how we can see how huge the gift that Swamiji is giving to the world is. And this time of the pandemic, it really tested all of us on various levels. It tested us, on our ability to adapt, on our resilience, and our ability to look in and find the root cause. Like the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism shares, Hinduism is really about looking in, finding the root cause, and then giving the right solution after identifying that root cause. And so, of course, this pandemic, no doubt, has had disastrous effects, as we were sharing earlier. But the way that I feel the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism's teachings have helped me the most is that when something like this happens, which affects each and every one of us, are we going to collapse as a humanity? No, because Hinduism is so life positive. And through the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism's teachings, I've learned how to look at such situations, crises, as also an opportunity to reinvent myself, right? And not just on the individual level, but this is also an opportunity for us as a collective to see how we have created this. And by looking in, like the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is sharing, looking in, finding the root cause, and then giving the right solution, which Hinduism has. But so, yes, to answer this question, really the way that I feel the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has helped me the most to prepare myself is through his continuous teachings, like spiritual discourses, free of cost for everyone online, every day, accessible for everybody. I've learned how to look at every situation as an opportunity to reinvent myself. And really, I feel this is the greatest power to have. And also through the science of completion, which I was initiated into back in 2016. So it's been a while, I've been through this process and doing completions when things arise and I experience powerlessness. Swamiji gave this science and initiated all of us in this science. And so thanks to that science and that initiation, I can say confidently that I never feel like I'm in a dead end. The completion really allows me to see that when I sincerely bring awareness within, bringing awareness brings so much healing, and from that space, new doors open up. And so completion, I feel, is one of the greatest gifts. The science of completion, it is a science, is one of the greatest gifts that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is giving to all of us, because with the science of completion, we are never stuck. We can always reinvent ourselves. And with the science of the power manifestation, as you were sharing before, as it was shared before, we were initiated, yes, into wealth manifestation. Mama Hakatita was sharing about this. And also what I noticed from my experience, the science of power manifestation is, it's an instant solution, because as soon as we enter the space, as soon as we're initiated, our frequency raises. So whenever we're stuck in some kind of meltdown or depression or pain pattern, as soon as we chant Mahavakya and we start scanning through our third eye, the depression disappears, and it is instantaneous. Yes. So this is what I wanted to share with all of you. And now we are going to go into the second question. And again, encouraging. Yes, ma'am.
Before we go into the second question, we have more testimonials from online participants. I would like to share the testimonial from Jnana Pradhayini. So she's saying that she participated 4 times in the Paramashivoham Level 2 program. I give a lot to understand the science of the Agamas, Rishis, the original Hinduism. I am grateful. And we have from Ma Magali Karan, this year 2021 has been enriching on all planes of life, be it food for body's health or food for the spirit. The Guru, His Divine Holiness, is everything most precious in a being's life to achieve knowledge. She is saying truth and liberation. So for me, Guru, Dharma, and his Sangha, always sharing and enriching, has been my refuge. Gratitude to everyone. We also have a sharing from Ma Amanda Tuti. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism revealed my very deep root cause today about my deep fear about stand up for myself, and people around me stand up for the fact. So true, whenever I manifest something, I experience deep completion and healing. Thank you so much, Ma Amanda, Ma Magali, and Manyana for sharing.
Yes, and now we will go into the second question. And again, encouraging all of you to share your answer, your sharing. Just the fact that you're willing to put yourself out there and share with others will inspire so many, more than you think. So we really encourage you to continue sharing live, and we will be also sharing your testimonials. So for the second question is, how has the presence, guidance, and initiation from Guru, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, transformed you? So I first invite Manita Katitananda to share her experiences.
Thank you, Ma Swatantra Priya. And these, these questions, I tell you, really gets me thinking, because I think, during, all this time we've been going, and really to stop, it makes us stop and think, how we have transformed over these years. And I will say, I mean, in some way, I do know what has transformed, like what has happened in my inner space. And there are other things that I really, I don't know. Maybe it just naturally happened after the initiation, and it just became the norm. But what I do know is, me prior to, being initiated, and even, coming to know about the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhava Nithyananda Paramashivam, Swamiji, as we daily call him. For me, a lot of things I would say I took on my shoulders, and I felt, I needed to do this and I needed to do that. And when I became initiated, I felt like a huge release, meaning that I felt like I could be a child again, if that makes sense. And in some way, I felt like that was the rebirth, where I could be a child again and really rediscover that not childish, but as Swamiji said, childlike sort of quality. And for me, that really made a huge difference, because it elevated, I was happy, I was more blissful. Now I had, another, family, Sangha, which was a huge thing for me. And really and truly, all his teachings, the cognitions, I feel his presence in everything that I am doing. And whenever I feel, stuck, or, I need some guidance, or feel like, I'm not progressing as I should, that sort of remembrance of being in gratitude for everything that I've been blessed with, and also the cognitions, I would say really has kept me grounded in reality. Because even during this entire COVID, I really, those again who were not connected, I saw so much pain and suffering, and that made me think, oh my gosh, how I can't say lucky, but how blessed I am to have him in my life and to be initiated. And so many initiations upon initiations Bhagwan has just given, the entire world. For me, that space of gratitude I have rediscovered in my life. A lot of things I took for granted, many things I took for granted, but I am now able to see, how having that space of gratitude just really opens up possibilities and really makes you a more blissful person. And his presence in my life, I would say, from a young age, being a disciple of or Shiva devotee, I would say by Swamiji coming into my life, that became more real to me. And all the different forms of the gods and goddesses, that became real, and I was able to connect with them. So I would say, as a Hindu, someone who was born into Hinduism, this really took me to a next level, because I used to think, oh, I was, a decent Hindu doing a pretty good job, okay. But really and truly, the blessing that he gave us was that connection with the different forms and the gods and goddesses, and that presence. Everything became more real, and the interaction and the presence of these gods and goddesses became more real in life. So I just, wanted to share that. Thank you, Ma. And I'll now invite Ma Vijayapriya to share your experiences as well.
Yes, thank you, Markatita. So again, there's so much to share about how the presence, the guidance, and the initiation from Guru, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam, has transformed me. But in a nutshell, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, my Guru, has empowered me with Hindu solutions, powerful Hindu cognitions to face any crisis. Being a born Hindu, I grew up going to temples every week and doing daily puja at home. But only the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism gave me the correct context, the understanding, the confidence, and the conviction, and the proof that Hinduism, the Vedas and the Agamas have the solutions to face any crisis. Solutions that are age-old, time-tested, and have worked throughout the thousands of years of the history of the Hindu civilization. Thank you.
Thank you, Ma Vijayapriya Nithyananda. And before inviting Ma Mahakatita to share, I'll share more of the live comments from all of you. Thank you so much for taking part. It's so inspiring to read everyone's unique sharings. And so Andreas Kalpinis is sharing, the only way to answer the question is he turned me from a loser to a winner, both in worldly life and in my relationship with God and mental health. Thank you so much for sharing. And Ma Nitya Swatitananda is sharing, the people in my life feel the peaceful state that radiates throughout my being. Continuously, I'm told by others, I feel peace of mind while in your presence. It is all Swamiji's blessing. Such beautiful sharings. And so now I'll share the question one more time and then invite Ma Mahakatita to share. So the question we're answering is, how has the presence, guidance, and initiation from Guru transformed you? And Guru meaning Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. Yes. So Ma Mahakatita, you can share.
Yes, so I would like to share how has the presence, the guidance, and initiation from Guru transformed you? I could say that, having the presence, the guidance, and initiation from the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism literally gave me new life. All the questions that I had about life, he really, through the science of and the teachings based in Sanatana Hindu Dharma, really answers and gave me answers to all the unanswered questions in my life, and has really empowered me with positive life solutions, techniques, applicable sciences of Hinduism, which I could apply to day-to-day activities, day-to-day life situations, interactions, and spiritual life solutions in my inner world and my outer world as well, which has become a permanent solution. And having a guru in my life, as Ma Vijayapriya had shared, has given me so much context about life, which is based in Hinduism and what we do and why we do it. So, whereas when we're alone in this spiritual journey, not having the experiential understanding, the right teachings, and, the confidence of pushing ourselves to the next level, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has really empowered us. And knowing that there's a scriptural reference, a time-tested, foolproof source, and giving it as an initiation that becomes ingrained in us as a powerful cognition, a thought current. Every darshan, the amount of energy and the Kundalini awakening you actually experience it, just through two-way video conference. The power manifestation science, the science of completion, is really something that everyone has to experience and not just understand. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Manita Mahakatitananda. And for myself, what I would say is, so first I was contemplating on this question, and this word transformation just kept coming back in my inner space. And I felt actually, what I feel is not like a transformation, because for me, transformation feels like something that wasn't there and then all of a sudden it happened. So for me, actually, it feels like really an awakening. It's like the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was just, shedding layers and layers of whatever it was, conditioning, accumulated layers of pain patterns, karmas, and really shedding the layers to uncover that diamond that is already there, already within. And I can remember the first time that, and I just love remembering that because it's one of the most powerful moments of my life, when I was standing physically in front of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism for the first time. It was in Varanasi, India. And he was on the stage and asked me why I was there. And what I said was, Swamiji, I'm here because I want to feel so powerful. I want to feel so unshakable inside that nothing can get to me. And now looking back, I can see that so many times in my life, I was so absorbed in the scene, whatever I was seeing outside, whatever I felt was external to me, so absorbed that I would lose the stability. I wasn't stable in the self, established in myself, and so became very unshakable. And sometimes it would take just a simple tone from someone to shake me. And so the way for me that I would answer this question is that having guru in my life. Actually, it's not even like I found my guru. I feel like I recognize my guru, because from that, he was always there waiting, and it took me a long time, but he was always there. And then that moment when I recognized him as my guru, that just gave me the greatest freedom, because the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, really what I feel he's teaching is how to fall in love with ourselves, how to connect with ourselves, and learn how to connect with ourselves and realize our greatest potential. And so by understanding the microcosm myself, I can understand the macrocosm, the whole universe, because the whole universe resides inside of me. And that for me is the greatest freedom. So that is how I would like to answer this question. And we have just a couple minutes left. And I'll share quickly in 1 minute. ARC, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Thank you for sharing live. So you are telling, thank you for helping me move forward successfully at work, health, and love. And Mam Magali Caron is sharing, the guru brings real life energy to everything. Everything becomes aliveness and bliss. And Ma Nitya Swatita Ananda, wow, my life has transformed in positive and profound ways. After receiving initiation, I have easily and effortlessly moved beyond addictions, quit smoking cigarettes after 30 years of smoking. That is incredible. Yes, so powerful. And yes, now we have to wrap up. There's so much more that we could share when we start asking these questions. So thank you so much, everyone, for taking part in this discussion on this very important day of international epidemic preparedness. And we look forward to seeing you in the next upcoming panels. So we will now end with the Purna Mantra. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Sarvam Bhagavat Shri Nithyananda Paramashivam Padukar Panamastu. Om Nithyanandam.
Nithyanandam, let us now all get ready to receive the darshan of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, His Divine Holiness Bhagavan Shri Nithyananda Paramashivam, and let us all prepare ourselves with the meditation. Please sit straight with head, neck, and spine in a straight line. Have your eyes closed. Breathe in and out deeply and slowly, and start chanting the Mahavakya. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham.
Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Paramashivoham.